Amanda McKinney, our Yakima County Commissioner, our warrior. Good morning.
Good morning. Do not let those clouds impact your mood.
That's right. That's right, man. Oh man. Well, good morning. Tell us, you had a board of health meeting. We're reporting this morning that the interim health officer basically saying nope, not gonna drop the mask mandate for kids in our county. Take it from there. What's going on?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that happened in the Horsburgh meeting a couple weeks ago. Well, actually a month ago. I've been pushing towards having the removal of the mask mandate, and you would think if people look around, and I'm sure a lot of people have neighbors and family and friends, or rather not neighbors, family and friends who live in other parts of the country. It's a whole new world out there. There are 11 states that never had mask guidance.
Yeah.
And there are 18 states that no longer have it who did initially put some mask guidance out there. It is okay for people to make a choice for themselves. And the biggest issue that I have had has always been with our children. I know that there are people out there who can relate. My son is 8 years old. He comes home every day. The thing is disgusting. It is, I don't even know what's on it. I don't want to know what's on it. And, when you go through and you read the things that the guidance that makes masks effective is proper use, obviously, right? That they are clean and that they are not soiled or wet. They're not constantly touched. And that is not a second grader. And boy, they've done a beautiful job. And God bless all of our teachers for trying to. But I've got parents telling me and teachers telling me we've had to send kids home because they're not wearing their masks correctly. And then the most nonsensical part of all of it is forcing them to wear these masks while they're outdoors or in intense athletic play. And what's so crazy to me is I saw just this last weekend in the Herald paper, you had photos of girls and boys high school basketball all wearing their masks down around their necks, of course, and juxtapose that to a college update with college basketball students who were not wearing masks. Why is that? Because it's the organization that sets it. And if you know the rules and the way Inslee has said it, he has made it very clear. Well, I won't say it's very clear. It's buried. But as an administrator of any organization, you can avoid mask wearing for your youth if you come up with your own plan. And that is why we were able to see certain organizations not have the kids wear masks. So it's possible. So the message I wanted to send is that let's have it be voluntary. I understand that there are going to be children who are living in a home where someone is still wanting them to wear a mask. Absolutely respect that. You can do that. You can ask the staff and your teacher to enforce that on your child. But I think it's time we take the masks off our children, especially when adults can take them off. And it's because they are so less symptomatically susceptible to COVID. And I cited several studies that have shown that now, as thankfully we've had time go by, we can see how one study I cited that Northern California hospitals have gone back and looked at their admissions rate for children 18 and under and found that fully over 40% of the hospital admissions were because the child was there for something else and simply tested positive for COVID because they were required to test. That's massive because we know that children weren't even impacted as much or hospitalized at nearly the same rate as adults to begin with. So kids are gratefully, God bless them, so happy that our children are not impacted by this virus in the same way, at the same rate as adults. And we need to celebrate that, and it's time to take the masks off our kids.
And you were asking the health officer basically to drop that here in Yakima, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And now, listen, he's not wrong in the way the laws are written. The mandate says that we aren't able to be less restrictive.
Right.
However, I'm wanting to point out and draw attention to the fact that, again, it doesn't change our recommendation. And it doesn't change the fact that the governor still does provide in the order, if people go look, the opportunity to make their own rules. So I think it's plausible that superintendents of schools could similarly do something if they wanted to. Now, are they going to do it? They've got teachers' unions. It's going to take some active parents and people on school boards. And obviously, it's going to come down to, more than likely, we're going to have to see something on a federal level before our state, unfortunately. And remember, this you can say that it's against the law. But again, how many other states have said, despite the CDC, despite the the Biden administration, they have still said, no thanks. DeSantis has said, you cannot require masks in the state of Florida, which, by the way, is looking really good right now. Yeah. And so there is no reason why we can't do the same thing. That's the thing I want people to really be able to know with confidence. We are unique in Washington State and Oregon. We are on complete lockdowns on these things compared to other parts of our own free country.
Last night on Hannity, he had a governor's panel, and the governor of South Dakota was on, talking about some schools in their state just finished their 180 days worth of school, no masks, nonstop, full time. They have a 9% GDP, best in the nation. They have a 2% unemployment rate. They never shut down. Now, granted, South Dakota is, about as many people that would ride the subway to work in New York on a regular day. But but it was an approach that they decided to take, and it has worked very well for them.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if the governor thinks that by claiming science, he'll have more credibility in his climate change stuff or whatever. I don't know what it is, but clearly.
Well, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Dave. That's what's coming down the pike. But this is the part, though. We have two sides of the story here, and one side isn't acknowledging other science if it doesn't fit the rules they would like to impose. Yeah. We have had throughout this pandemic plenty of science. Our own hospital, you can look. We haven't had anyone under 18 hospitalized. They are not having the same, and if you go and read the studies that I had forwarded to the Herald at their request, and I love that they're following up because I am well researched. I'm not going to open my mouth unless I know what I'm talking about. And they have found that the presumption, because again, I won't even say it hasn't been well studied, and why? There hasn't been enough time. But they are right now presuming that it has a lot to do with the fact, which this makes sense, that children do not have, because they haven't had time as they've grown up to develop those comorbidities. What do we know about the virus? It impacts people who are immunocompromised, people who have comorbidities. And children, thankfully, because they're so young, tend to be healthier because they haven't developed all the horrible bad habits that we all pick up when we become adults. By choice, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Good stuff. All right. Well, I guess,
I didn't read the article yet. Do we have the vote? What was the vote when you proposed this?
Sure. It was narrow. Oh, it was close. It was 4-3. So we had Dr. Atterbury and Mayor Byers and Commissioner Lindy voted with me. And then Commissioner Anderson voted against, as well as Ms. Duvall and Dr. Cleary.
Okay.
So that it was razor thin, but again, it's about hopefully being able to send a message to other counties, other health districts, and our local organizations. The other thing I want to make a point to, that we do have an exemption form for children wearing masks, and the other thing that I made sure is that they acknowledged it and that they put it on their public-facing website. And I have to say that I was tipped off to this by someone who follows me on Facebook. I thank her immensely. For those people who have children this is a really significant problem for them. The health district was saying that, you have to go through the school nurse, and the school nurse has to approve of this before giving it to you, and then you go to your doctor. And I said, no. If this is a health district form, then it is a public form, which means the public must have access to it. We're not going to put a school nurse in between you accessing a public form. Now, if you then take it to your physician and the physician comes to the health officer, Dr. Yuka, and those two folks sign it, then you go to your nurse and you show them the form and notify them so that they can manage it accordingly. The idea was, they need to know so they can manage it. I agree. They should absolutely be involved in the process and manage it, but I don't think they should be the instigating factor. They need to be at the end when you've got your family physician and Dr. Yuka signed off, and then you can tell them about it. So I will say that they had committed in the meeting yesterday that they would get that on the public-facing website. So that's another big win, too, because these are the little nuggets that are buried there.
That's right.
Good. So Dr. Atterbury is also one of the ones being interviewed for the health director position, yes?
Yes, sir.
And when do we expect a decision to come on that?
Well, we just finally were able to get, there are 3 candidates. We were just able, as you can imagine, to coordinate schedules among all the board members. I had requested, and the board agreed, that we should have these interviews public with all board members being part of the interview, in which this case, though, would be 6 because Dr. Atterbury is also a board member. But I wanted the public to see the process.
Sure.
And so we are going to be having those interviews on June, let me just see here, I think it's June 9th, 10th, yes. So June 9th at 3 p.m., and I think the health district said they would also update their website. But June 9th at 3 p.m., and then June 10th at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. So coming up soon, and then we will need to reconvene as a board at the end of those interviews, probably not likely on that evening, at a different date soon thereafter to discuss the merits and vote on a choice.